I sat by the fire waiting for my next passenger. The horses hitched to the wagon were starting to become restless, and my knuckles were itching from clutching this watch for so long. This is why I usually went after lost souls rather than wait for them. I closed the watch and looked up at the sky. No moon tonight, and the clouds were down here rather than up there. The chill of the air ran through my body, so the warmth of the fire was a strong and welcome contrast. Footsteps crunched nearby as something trod the autumn leaves underfoot. I looked up to see the lost soul had finally arrived. "About time. I've been waiting for you," I droned. The man in the dark coat looked over his shoulder. I couldn't see his face past the shade from his hood, but I could feel his frightened confusion. "Me?" He pointed a finger at himself. "Yes, you," I clarified, rising to my feet. "You've been hanging around here a bit too long. It's high time you moved on." "What? No, I can't leave. I still need to find your family." I tilted my head. "They've moved on already. They're waiting for me to bring you to them." "What do you mean, moved on? Where are they?" Great. Another one who didn't know. It'd be a waste of time explaining the situation this man was in, but it has to be done. "Sir, have you noticed anything odd since you became lost in these woods?" The man looked around slowly, as if trying to remember something just out of reach. Maybe an unusual chill that runs through the whole of your being, on an inability to feel warm but no discomfort from it. The man's gaze shot back to meet mine. Yes, I have felt that." I stood up and removed my hat, revealing my bare skull to the poor soul. "That's because you were dead," I told him blankly. "You've been dead for roughly 60 years. The man's eyes widened. "What? No, I can't be dead." Denial. Normal and irritating to deal with. "And it's not been that long. I've been wandering the forest for a few months, tops. Time is irrelevant to a spirit. It seems like a few months because that's the collective of time you spent aware of your surroundings. The rest of your time here has been spent reliving your past, completely unaware of the world outside you." The soul shook his head. "I'm not dead!" he yelled. This was why I didn't like dealing with unaware spirits. They always insisted that they were still alive and wouldn't take in the truth until they had some compelling evidence. Thankfully, that wasn't ever hard to come by. I sighed. "Pick something up." "What?" "Pick something up. Go ahead. A branch, a stone. There might be a few nuts fallen from trees around here." He leaned down for a branch and grasped it in both hands. He straightened up, only to find the branch didn't move with him. He tried again, watching as his hands brushed through the branch like it wasn't there. He looked at his hands and shuddered. "But the leaves. I disturbed them walking here. I heard them crunch under my feet. You made the sound, but the leaves are untouched." He wandered around in a circle, carefully watching the leaves he stepped on, only to find they hadn't changed. I could have grinned seeing this ridiculous spectacle, but I had a job to do here, and watching a soul come to terms was slowing me down. "Convinced yet?" I drummed my fingers against my crossed arms. The man turned to me in defeat. "So, you are Death?" "Yes, I am." I marched over to his side and laid a hand on his shoulder. "And I'm here to escort you to your family. They've been waiting for some time." The soul released a long, cold sigh and glanced at the fire. "Could I at least stay for the warmth a bit longer?" I expected this. This man still needed time to accept his situation, and I had no reason to deny him another minute. Many souls before in his situation needed the extra time to accept their status. "Of course, but we mustn't stay too long. You're not the only soul I have to escort tonight." We both sat beside the small fire. It was the only warmth we could feel. Without it, we wouldn't even notice the cold. "So, do you know when or how I died?" the soul asked me. He didn't know he was dead at first, so it made sense that he didn't know how it happened. "It was the middle of winter, terrible blizzard. You sought shelter in a shallow cave, but it wasn't enough. You started a small fire and fell asleep next to it. Snow got in and put it out. The soul chuckled. At least I died in my sleep. I'd have smiled if I had an actual mouth. I took out the pocket watch and inspected the time. The sun would be up soon, the perfect time to escort the soul. Are you ready to go yet? He took a moment to answer. Yeah. Better late than never, I suppose. I put out the fire and escorted him to my wagon before I climbed up to take the reins. With a flick of the lead, we were off along the path only I could see. Headed toward the sunrise, the path led forward to the place I could never go myself. Say, there's one thing I've always wondered, the soul asked from inside the wagon. Yes? You escort the souls of all that die, right? That is correct. I'm even responsible for the dying that don't have a soul, plants, fungus, and the like. Well, what happens when one day there are no living things left to die? I've never thought of such a situation. All I've ever known was that wherever there was life, there would be death. There would be me. If there was no more life, I guess it means one day even death will die.